Yeah. All right. That's
Let
our.
me ask you. There's Edmund. There's clearly like like the Isaac had like we're just talking about a religious backing, right? Like historically, Mewgenics is about a bunch of cat freaks. Like where is that coming from?
I mean, Mewgenics is coming from like originally when it was conceived like ages ago, like what is it, like 12 or 13 years ago when I made the prototype. It was kind of like almost a gag based off of a thing, an in joke that whenever I would start a new project, my wife, before we had kids, had to buy a new cat. That was like I needed to release the bomb. The bomb's about to explode. I cannot do another, year-long project. Here's a cat, and then she diffuses.
Okay.
For that amount of time.
How many cats did you get up to?
We got 4. We had 4 cats. And then she wanted all these like kind of exotic, weird cats, and she went deep on that. And I thought like how twistedly awful, the cat breeding, actually the reality of cat breeding was. Like she would get Sphinx cats, so hairless cats, and there's like freaky variations of these. You got like odd-eyed ones that have like one blue eye, one brown eye. You got bambinos that have like half-sized legs like dachshunds. You've got all these weird
little freaks.
There's like a brindley ones that have like stunted hair, so it's like really really short and like tight, like really. It's like this. They have like a carpety feel to them. We had one of those, and it kind of like just. I thought it was interesting because it was this morally questionable thing that so many people did, and having pets in general, I thought was interesting. And then hoarding, like I collect a lot of stuff. We collect a lot of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Did you know that nose on that dog can only go up so high? If it went up a little higher, that's illegal. The nose cannot go higher than the middle of the eyes.
So this thing, you probably don't know, this thing is a mutant, homeless piece of shit with crippled arms and is horribly overbred. That's a rescue. So this thing is like the peak of what you're talking about. This is the worst created dog of all.
So I don't know
which is why he hangs out in his bag.
If we see him walking around a bit later, right? Like the front legs kind of drag around and the back legs are up, so there's always that booty in the air, like
pushes along.
Which is why his name is
Caboose. He's the sweetest guy, but no, he's a horrible freak mutant.
And I love horrible freak mutants. Yeah. So, and that's like kind of what it's about. And then I put that project down for quite a while. It got canceled.
Wow.
Like a year and a half into
phrasing.
Yeah. And it was reborn. It was reborn later. And at that point in time, I had a kid, and my perspective on the whole theme changed a bit, and it became more about genetics and legacy and the things you pass down to your offspring and all that stuff. It just became more real, I guess. And I just started writing from that perspective.
So, I mean, off the top, there's like, it's a turn-based roguelike tactical RPG. So, you're seeing the grid and, the things you like to see if you're playing a game with different different synergy and classes and things like that. But what I heard that was pretty sick about it, I don't know if Pat, did you catch the feature with disorders?
I have not. I'm actually looking at Ed play it right now.
So as it's roguelike with and there's randomized like cats and stuff, there's disorders that your cats can get. Right, and like you were describing in the no clip that like you could have cats that get like ADHD and it affects gameplay, or autism, or cancer, and like
that's not a disorder. That last one's not a disorder.
It's not. I mean, you're not born with it, but the other ones are inborn disorders. But We call them disorders. There's a pool of things that negative things that could happen, but every negative has a silver lining you can kind of draft around. I passed a kidney stone last week, which was the worst pain I've ever been in my life.
Fuck.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Why are you here? That's crazy.
Well, the day after I was very drugged, but the day after that, I was fine. And it's like the only thing that looms is like the idea that I have two kidneys.
Yeah.
So the other one could have something rattling around that just gets
oh my god
dislodged. And no, it was a pain I would wish on no one. It was laughably awful, but it's one of those things where you're going in and it's not like you're dying, right? Like they just like you. I went to the emergency room and I'm like, I'm quite sure I have this kidney stone situation here because this is such a specific pain. They sit you down, they give you drugs that don't work because this is some different, like a spinal tap would have worked. Like it's like birth pain. And then after 6 hours, I passed the stone and I went home, and that's it. But you can get kidney stones in Mewgenics.
Okay.
And what it does is it randomly fires a rock out of your ass.
Yeah. I was about to say
Right.
the positive gameplay element.
If you're always angling your ass towards an enemy, there's a chance that when that happens, it just fires the rock out at the enemy, and you're good to go. You just got to make sure you're not angling it at your own guys.
Is the projectile strong? Does it do good damage? Is it all right?
Yeah, it does 5 damage. It's a rock. I mean, it leaves a rock behind, and you can interact with the rock. You can hit the rock around.
Hey, let me ask you. I've got you can't see him now. He's at the house, but I've got a dumpster cat who's disabled as well. Do you have any wobble cat disorder on there?
Yeah, wobble cats in there.
Fuck yeah.
Yep. I think we hit all of our bases. I'm sure there'll be more that pop up after release that we can add in later, but we got a tremendous number. And once I finally took the plunge, because there was some hesitation of putting real disorders in, and the first thing I did was put in the disorders me and my kids have, so it's like, well, I can talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I posted those, people were like, why don't you put this in? Why don't you put this in? Like, we want representation. Like, give us more, cover all the bases. And I was like, okay, well, let's do this. And I think it's working out pretty good. I really like it. Like, it's a really cool aspect of the game that feels honest and fun and funny and interesting and not disparaging or negative or whatever.
And like each one for whatever it causes, each thing has a gameplay positive bonus that you can work into your build in some way. Yeah, that's sick. that's fun.
I'm kind of going through now and just making sure like this thing is a gambling addict. Is the positive, is the con too much of a con? And then we go back and forth on that and arguing numbers right now. It was like that was literally the last thing last night. It's like gambling addiction. If your cat is born a gambling addict, they have a 33% chance of failing, but also a 66% chance of critting every single time or something along those lines.
How much is a crit?
There's like double.
Oh, that's objectively better on paper.
That's and that's the argument, right? But it feels bad. Like it feels bad when you're only seeing those misses, because those misses are putting you in danger. So if you're going out and confronting something and hitting it, and then you miss it and it doesn't die, it's going to turn around and hit you. Yeah. So it's like the numbers are correct, but it still feels bad. And I was arguing, saying like let's raise the damage the crit does. But I think in the end, we just settle on the fact that sometimes things can feel a little bit bad. But
that honestly reminds me of Expedition 33, where the roulette gambling picto is only available to people who don't understand gambling. Do you remember that, Woolie?
By asking you the questions about gambling.
No, they ask you the question, and if you get it correctly, they won't give it to you. Because if you do understand gambling, you look at the roulette and you realize it's like a statistical number increase. It's just a straight up upgrade.
But if you get it wrong, then you get the gambling
They're
reward.
like, yeah, here you go. You're perfect for gambling.
Get addicted. When you balance stuff like that, Ed, is it kind of like you just go off of a vague feeling, and then I guess playtesters give you a bit more data, but do you look at any sort of like metric on full release and then go back and tweak according to that?
No, I've never really worked that way. I don't want to crunch numbers because then you can just do it for fucking ever, and then it kind of becomes a little watered down. And
Okay.
like, but I have a good feel for things, and usually I can poll the audience and say like which of these what are the worst items, and I can like balance those or whatever else. But I'm um I'm a big fan of kind of just throwing stuff at the wall, getting a feel for it, and me and Tyler together, since we know this game so well, we've been working on it for 6 years. So we know the game really well. We know, how to balance things specifically. And once they're balanced enough, we're fine with it. The only downside is this game is a lot deeper than Isaac. The combinations are kind of infinite for a human being. Like if you could imagine, like Isaac has 700 items, right? 700 items. So Mewgenics has about 900 items, but it also has 1,200 abilities. And all of these things interact and they combo and it goes infinite to the point where every time I play, I'm finding combinations, I'm finding insane interactions that weren't thought of. We were just building them out in a way where they could all speak to one another naturally. Kind of like the original Isaac. Like the original Isaac had a lot of synergies that weren't programmed. They just worked.
So that was the follow-up, I guess, was just like, like if you're not like tweaking according to that, then like is the idea that every once in a while a couple of these things will just be insanely busted and that's the point, but you got lucky. So
it's not even so much of luck, it's also just keeping your eyes open and knowing what works, because you're being, not only are you're drafting your abilities this time. It's not one item you get. So you're going to be drafting 4 abilities every time you level up, specifically like passives and actives. You'll get that multiple times. But you're also basically drafting items too in shops and stuff that you find. And the cool thing about this game is the stuff that you come home with, you get to keep in your storage, as long as your storage is big enough to keep those things. And then you can actually build around the things in your storage. Like if, like you brought up autism. So autism, it lowers charisma, raises intelligence. The abilities that your cat is born with, you're more efficient at.
Pat's like,
the abilities that you're born with, you're quite good at. You're very efficient at. You're very good at. Everything else is difficult. So that's represented in the spells that you are born with, the ones that you pop out as a kitten with, cost 2 mana less, and all the other spells you gain from then on cost more mana. There's an item called the 2 of Spades, and it's, you wear it around your neck, and it says whenever you cast a spell that costs 2 or less mana, double cast it. So it double casts those spells. If your cat has autism, the chances of it lowering the spell to 2 are much higher than the other cats. And which makes it, there's just, you can build around, like I said, like 900 unique items, 1,200 abilities. Like you can build around these and you can have all these aha moments where you're like, wait a minute, this spell that cost 4 now costs 2, and I can double cast it, and double casting it would yield more mana to this other character than they would, it's like a net gain passing the mana on, like that sort of stuff.
And double casting all the time.
There you go. So it's like it goes way, 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 way deep.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you. This sounds complicated. This sounds like an enormous amount of like in-game documentation, because like Woolie was asking you about perfect information. You're like, it's got tool tips, it has explanations. One of the weirder things that popped up on my Steam just a few weeks ago was that you finally added item descriptions to Isaac.
Yeah.
Was working on this level of like text complexity for Mewgenics responsible for going back and just going and giving the item descriptions to Isaac?
I would say somewhat yes. This was something that I've been wanting to do for many years. I wanted to do it for release on Repentance, but we did not have the time to do that. And it kept kind of getting pushed. And then it was like, the conclusion was always like, well, there's already a mod that does this. That was kind of always the conclusion. And I was like, well, what about the people on console? And what about, the people who don't use mods? And what about, like all this stuff? It just pained me deeply to the idea of everybody who plays Isaac, unless you're like this giant brained monster, has their phone open on a website to double check what items combination, what's ideal, like every item, whatever else. It's like, that's like bad design.
Well, I
And
had the
initially,
opposite situation. I just played it and I would be like, I don't know. I don't
that's
fucking
fine.
know.
And that's fine. And a lot of people that's how I thought people would play the game. That's why I didn't put the item descriptions in. Like, I wanted you to just fly by the seat of your pants, just accept what was given to you and make it work. I thought that was the more interesting design, but I realized that much like kind of Mewgenics is, there's different players who like to play different ways. And it turns out a majority of Isaac players really want that information. So it is an option now. You can have that if you want, but you don't have to have it if you don't want it.
So the other thing that makes sense to me too is if the style of game is meant for you to trip across and like fuck up and pick something you shouldn't have or learn the hard way, if you ever see it again, you will have that memory or so. But that is it's reminiscent of, so the part of this I heard that you guys were somewhat inspired by Kingdom Death Monster, right? Yeah. And that's I love that board game. Like, I have a way too much money downstairs in miniatures with that stuff. Okay, yo, I got the delivery for a box from them like a couple months ago, and I'm like, I bought this 10 years ago. What are you doing? It's insane.
That's what happens when we dumped all of our money into it back then. Now they owe us like so much. There's another one coming too. There's the thing that I've been looking forward to is they had this book. It was a book that you're supposed to be able to like customize like shorter runs and like different ways to do expansions and stuff. And that's all it was supposed to be. But now it's turning into this like giant $200 value mega box that they're going to put out next year or something.
Yeah, it's like I had to go to my old address to get the delivery because the little like guts figure basically showed up there. Anyway, it's batshit, but that's an example of a game where you're supposed to go out and die. Like, you're supposed to have whoever you pick up like barely struggle to survive, and those who can make it out, are gonna be like a lot better next time around. But essentially, not knowing is part of the appeal and the difficulty.
For sure. And I don't want people to think that Mewgenics not really like that.
Okay.
But it's not harsh like that. We don't want you to like just get fucked up and die. And the way things progress, like once you've gone on a run with your cats and they come back home, those cats are retired. You can use them to defend your house and that sort of stuff. But other than that, it's just breeding.
Okay.
And you can't take them back out. So it's
not
one
like run.
Yeah. So like Kingdom Death, where it's like you incrementally, if this guy survives, then it gets up.
Yeah.
It was inspired by, there's some aspects of Kingdom Death that I really liked that I tried to pull from. I play a lot of board games, period. I play more board games than I do video games. And we also were playing a lot of D&D and Dungeon Crawl Classics. And I love those. I love tables. There's lots of tables in this game too. So lots of like random rolls and stuff like that.
Because the other thing, because I also think of like I have unsurprisingly a lot of hours in Darkest Dungeon and Darkest Dungeon 2. I love those games, and those are ones where it's like you don't get one run, you get a couple, but like if you start pushing it after that, like good luck. Some of these diseases are going to build up and make it impossible, and the stress and such. But here, I guess, so the idea is you keep those traits and then pass it on as you breed the next generation each time.
Like the whole breeding aspect of the game is quite deep. And there's recessive genes, and you can breed in disorders, you can breed in traits. Like, let's say you go out and you have this ability like wind gust or whatever else. It's really cool. You come back home, your guy's all maxed out, and you breed that ability into a kitten. So every kitten is born with one starter ability, right? Sometimes more, depending on how comfortable the room that they're born in is, how much stimulation it has and everything else, which is something you work on in the long game. You buy furniture, you fill your house up, the furniture has a bunch of attributes. Sounds more complicated than it actually is. But you're just throwing furniture in a room to make your cats comfortable, so they breed and they inherit the cool things that their parents have. So let's say the cat's born with Gust. That's a mage spell. And let's say you decide to class it as a fighter. Now you've got a multi-classed cat with a starter, and you can build around that. Like the mid to late game, you start pushing into this where you're trying to do that, and your cats are always being born. Your kittens always will have abilities of their parents.
Okay.
And you're like, oh shit, I know these archetypes well enough to know that if I have this ability that summons a shitload of leeches, and I put that on a hunter, the hunter has a bunch of boons and passives that like enhance your familiars, then I can draft around this, that sort of stuff.
Okay. You get a little bit more control as time goes on for a little further. I wish I could hear the word recessive gene without my brain just exploding into a shitty bunch of Metal Gear. You too, right? As soon as he said it, I just heard Liquid Snake going, brother! And it's like, yeah, okay, thank you, Kojima. It's done. I can't talk about genes ever without fucking... Yeah, okay. I have a potentially annoying but nonetheless pertinent question about this game that I think, Pat, you might be with me on this here.
Okay.
Is controller support a thing for this mouse-based game that is pretty much mouse-centric?
Controller support's being added next month. That's what Tyler is begrudgingly doing.
Let's go.
But I will
so
say
annoying about this.
It's not practical, but it's just okay. So we are holdovers.
You play on Steam Deck?
No, it's not that. I don't play on Steam Deck.
I'm just a big baby, and I'm not good with mouse and keyboard.
And
just a big baby.
So we're holdovers from an old generation because we grew up playing console games with controllers. So when we started Let's Playing and stuff, we didn't do it from a computer on our desk looking at the camera. We did it on a couch with the camera pointed at the TV in the living room. So everything we played was like, yeah, the computer and keyboard are way over there. I don't know. I got a controller to play my video game. So that's kind of turned into, I hope this game supports controllers, even though times have moved into a very keyboard, WASD-focused mouse and keyboard thing,
Now, I will say, Wooly, as I've gotten older, my back is rock solid. My back is super good. However, using a mouse and keyboard for more than an hour or two does give me some RSI. So now I have an old man baby reason to beg for controller support on everything.
Okay.
Yes, on controller support, of course. We have to do it either way to port to console, and we want to do full Steam Deck support. But I will say, I would say half of our testers play, a lot. A lot of our testers that are active right now are playing on Steam Deck, and they do the virtual little cursor, and that works really well.
Okay.
Also, I wish they came out with a second Steam controller. That first one was a piece of shit, but the Steam Deck's controls are excellent.
And there's a touchscreen there too if you don't want any of that either, right? So it has you covered in a lot of different ways. Yeah. Sick. Okay. Yeah, I know that so far a lot of the footage and everything that's been shown off, you always have that this is just the first chapter or so. Shit goes crazy and it's massive and insane. This is I guess just in terms of sheer content, you've described it as how much bigger than Isaac?
It's definitely bigger. I would say it's bigger. I wouldn't say it's as big as, I don't even know anymore though. Maybe it is as big as Repentance. I would say it's a little smaller than Isaac and all the DLCs. Okay, it's a little bit smaller than that. But it's hard to say. I think Isaac has more hours because it has so many more characters in the end. There's a shit ton now. So a lot of people that are going for 100% completion, it may take longer to 100% Isaac, but I don't know. My current save, I was just finishing up a run when this started and I was losing. But I'm doing one of the final runs of the game, and then there's a quest at the end. Once I do that quest, the game will have ended story-wise, and I'll probably be at 250 hours for the story.
Okay.
I don't know what that means is trying to go back and 100% the game. I don't even know. I have no clue. But it is a deep, sprawling game, even just story-wise. It has 3 acts, and we've only really spoiled stuff from the first.
As it should. Someone popped a question up earlier. What are the positive gameplay aspects of Cancer?
Oh yeah, you mutate. You slowly die, but you mutate like crazy. The mutations are like a key aspect of the game too that I haven't really shown much in my Let's Plays. But essentially every piece of the cats look like the way they do in game because they're built in a specific way that lets me modularly use every piece of the cat, like kind of like a little puppet. So you can mutate a cat's eyes, head, eyebrows, mouth, body, front legs, back legs, tail, textures, and each of those things has like 150 to 200 variations of mutations. So you could have like a spring tail,
Okay.
which makes it so if people hit you, they bounce off of you and shoot across the screen. You could have like webbed toes, which makes it so you can walk on water without issue. You can get horns, which literally give you thorns and like let you ram into things, that sort of stuff. And what Cancer can do is just give you a ton of these.
Combined.
You just farm.
Okay.
Yeah, you just go in, but it's killing your cats. So like you're trying to. So at the end of each chapter, there's 3 chapters in a run, and at the end of each chapter, you get the option to continue forward or check out, go home, like cut your losses. So you could farm the first chapter of an area, try to get as many mutations as you possibly can, bring them home, then try to breed those mutations in. You might get some bad ones, but you try to breed those out, breed the good ones in, and do some fun breeding with those. But yeah, that's the design for Cancer.
Okay. I'm thinking of Cyborg Justice on the Genesis from back in the day. You know, getting like the tank legs, pulling off the pneumatic legs and sticking those on to replace your tank legs and get a super jump out of that. Yeah. Okay.
You can get tires for legs. I've had those recently.
Fantastic.
I have water balloon legs right now.
Pat, when
you get hit, it makes water underneath you.